My husband grew up addicted to video games. I wasn't glued to screens, but I wasn't much better. I could spend hours outside in nature and not really see anything. Nature was just there. Then we realized something unsettling. Screens didn't just steal time away from our children. They were quietly stealing their ability to connect with the outside world. I refuse to let my girls grow up passive, distant, and disconnected from the wonderful world that God has given them. Today, our girls discover things all the time that we never noticed before. They ask better questions, see incredible details, and are excited about ordinary things. The difference is not that we know a lot about nature. Unfortunately, we do not homestead. We don't take extravagant trips. We simply taught them one skill, the skill of observation. In this video, I'll show you the 3 simple activities that helped our family replace screen-driven distraction, helped us reclaim family togetherness, and taught us all to see again. But when you first try to connect your kids with nature, you're going to hit a wall almost immediately. Mom, I'm bored. So the standard answer is, well, they need to go outside and have some free play. They just need more exposure. But when they hit the backyard, they don't even know how to look. They can't slow down and notice anything. So they just whine. My husband is a youth pastor, and a few times a year, he likes to take all the teenagers on a hike. And we've had a few students who have been extremely resistant. Why would I want to go outside when I could be inside? My husband knew that just getting them down the trail would not help with their attitude. So he instituted a new mission. He created a scavenger hunt. And those tech-driven, obsessed teenagers loved it. They stopped looking at their phones and they started scanning the trees. They were excited to see a bug. He's made 2 different scavenger hunt cards and both work great. One has a variety, something pokey, a bug, a reptile, and then one was more focused, an oak leaf, a sycamore leaf, a tulip poplar leaf. Both worked great. My children also really like the scavenger hunt of just find something that is each color of the rainbow. Blue is hard, but it's not impossible. It also works to look for one specific thing the whole time. I love walking around with my friend who's a 4-year-old and looking at all the spider webs covered in dew in the morning. Directed learning is a fun and easy way to bridge into this new world of wonder. And after working with teenagers for nearly 2 decades, my husband and I have seen that the work young families do really makes a difference. If you are a parent of a young child and you want to see how your family habits are preparing your child to face modern challenges later on as a teenager, I think you will really appreciate our culture proof audit. It'll show you the vulnerabilities and the next steps you can take. That helpful tool is linked below. But once you get your kids outside and actually looking at things, the very next barrier you will hit is the humbling realization that you do not know the names of many bugs or plants. The easy answer is to get an app. We do have an app, but I would caution you that this easy answer is actually not what you're looking for. You may be able to identify the plant that you just found, but almost labeling it right then breaks the connection that you were forming when you found the plant in the first place. And you've just brought a screen into this family situation of connectedness. Go ahead, use your app, identify the thing. I like to do it later when I'm at home. But what's better in the moment is to use the Anne of Green Gables technique. She's famous for labeling things. So she has the Lake of Shining Waters, which really romanticizes the lake. When you do this, you're creating this catalog with your kids of kind of inside jokes or inside labels, and it just makes the whole world more magical. So I love to think about the cenote of dreams. It's not in Mexico. It's actually right here in East Tennessee. Passing on scientific knowledge is not actually the goal. It's more about the connection to wonder and to each other. So every year, someone in my family will point out, oh, Adeline's flower is in bloom. I have no idea what that flower is actually called, and I don't care. But you may say to me, I really want to know. Don't turn to TV documentaries or to even YouTube, because every screen is just trying to get you to watch more. Even this video, if you would like to binge watch my videos when you're finished, feel free. I would appreciate that. But what is better is Book of Naturalists. The TV will show you the wonder, but the naturalist is trying to get you to go outside and learn how to observe. My absolute favorite book that I have read from a naturalist. Actually, she's not even a naturalist. She's like a normal person. I think she had to collaborate with a biologist on this book, but it's called Seeing Trees. Absolutely love it. One of my favorite books of all time. And I don't usually love like nature lore type books, but this lady has watched trees her whole life. She says the best place to do it is in a hammock. And she taught me so much about the details of trees that were so wonderful. And I have been able to find them in nature and point them out to my children. Example, sycamore trees, their buds for the next year are already growing underneath the twig of the leaf that comes out. Break off that part and you will see a little bud hiding for the next year. But although I love books, I would say they are not the best way to learn, because books aren't excited when you find the first yellow goldfinch of the season. And books will not call you and say, hey, there's a snake, y'all got to get up here. And books will not text you because they figured out the shape of caterpillar poop. You know who does that? Fellow nature geeks. And you need a group of them. Find your people. Finding other people to be in nature with that are observant totally changes your perspective on life. One day, an 8-year-old fellow lover of nature brought me an acorn, and he said, there's something inside this acorn. And I'm like, how do you know? And he said, because I listened to it. So I set it on my dryer, and the next day there was a hole in the acorn because a weevil had worked its way out. Who would listen to an acorn? Okay, you don't learn that from a book. You learn that from an 8-year-old. But our lack of knowledge, which I would almost call a generational curse, is only half the problem. What if your kids are scared and have sensory issues when it comes to nature? I've totally seen this. Every spring when the bugs wake up and come out, it's like every child under the age of 10 freaks. They don't remember. They never got hurt the last time. And even worse, it's like the bees don't know how to fly yet and they just fly into your face. So when you send your kid out to have some free play, they just come running back, screaming inside, it's gonna get me! So what does every logical parent do? Lock the door. I'm just kidding. There is a better way. I saw this transformation firsthand in my own life. A few summers ago, a red wasp landed on my leg at the pool, and my first instinct is to freak out. I've been stung by a red wasp before and they hurt, but that was the old me. The new me starts looking at it. Look at the color of the legs and how it holds its wings. And why is it like moving rhythmically like that? And my kids are watching me just let this wasp chill out on my leg. And I'm training them to become an observer, like a scientist. And their fear just shrinks. Instead of them yelling like, get it off, they start to notice. What is it actually doing? Okay, so now my kids aren't screaming anymore, but how do I help them become true observers? Kids can't slow down enough to notice anything. They're like quicker than a honeybee going to flower. And even the scavenger hunt, which is a great bridge to observation, it still doesn't slow them down. Why don't you try asking your child to sit down and look at a tree for 3 minutes? It won't work. I don't think they literally know how to notice until they're trained. Now, don't you wish you had a tool that would train your children how to notice? Enter the hero of the story, nature journaling together. When I nature journal, it is one of the few times in life that I feel like the slowness of life. Taking a child who only knows how to speed through life and basically get to the end of the hike and giving them a nature journal and sitting down together anchors their eyes and their minds on one thing, and I would say even their heart. I asked my kids, how has nature journaling changed your life? It was so sweet. I wish I had it on video. But Jubilee said, one time I nature journaled a tiger lily in charcoal, and now I love tiger lilies. That's how it works for myself and for all the kids that I've taught to nature journal. Anytime I say, hey, I nature journaled that, it's a cue for, that has a special place in my heart. I know you want to know exactly how to nature journal with your kids, and I had great success this year in this area across the board. And I want to tell you, but first we have to deal with the objection that 95% of us have, which is, I cannot draw. When you picture nature journaling and you think, well, my drawing looks nothing like the real object. That's very complicated. There's no way I could draw this. I'm never showing this to anyone. If I turn this in for a grade, I would fail because it's ugly. But there is no reason to cry over a bad drawing in a nature journal, because nature journaling is not a method for learning to draw. It is a method for learning observation. So here are the pro tips I have for overcoming this barrier. Number one, use a family record. I absolutely love doing this. On my way home from hiking with my family, I say, what did we see today? And we begin the list. Number two, turn your drawings into diagrams. Once you start making labels, it looks more like a scientific inquiry than a masterpiece. Don't rely too heavily on drawings, but add words and numbers to the page as well. The blank page is super intimidating, and so I give my kids, this is for school, a list of options for nature journaling, which I extracted from the master nature journal teacher, John Muir Laws himself. My daughter Eden was coming to me for days telling me, the bluebirds, they're going to fly. We've got to nature journal the bluebirds. And praise the Lord, I went up there with her one day and we sat there and we looked into the bird box and we looked at these bluebirds in the nest and went back, painted, sat together, talked about things we were seeing, and such a sweet memory for me. And then the next day they flew and I almost missed it. I cannot express to you how deeply impactful nature journaling is to my soul, but even more to the connection that I've had sitting there beside my kids, looking at one amazing, wonderful thing and seeing more and more of how glorious it is. But if you were like me a few years ago, you would say, that sounds like a very intimidating project to take on. It's like another college course in drawing and science, which I'm totally unfamiliar with, and I don't even have time to dig into this. People have unrealistic expectations when it comes to studying nature. They think, oh, I'm going to take my kids to this amazing location like Cades Cove. And so we've got to have at least the whole afternoon off and pack a picnic and bring all of our supplies. And when you think, there's no way I can pull that off, I don't have an afternoon, then you just turn to free play and I'll just let my kids go. At least they'll be outside. I agree with you. At least they'll be outside. But there is another way. My favorite activity that connects my family to nature takes less than 15 minutes, and it does so much more than individual observation, although it does do that. So we pick a scene and we all stare at it for a few minutes. Then we turn our back and we report on what we saw. This is called picture painting by Charlotte Mason, who's an incredible philosopher that understands how to teach children about nature. The shocking thing to me is how deeply meaningful these places have become in my memory. Not because I stared hard and understand the details. It's because I can feel my family around me when I think back to that spot. We are rooted. We are focused on glory. We are fully present, taking in a treasure together. Because the stakes are higher and the benefits are deeper than we realize. I told you we've been in youth ministry a long time, and it's become very clear that family connection is not a guarantee. It does not happen by accident. It happens through intentionality. When you lose connection with the natural world and trade that for individual screens, you're making a terrible mistake. This is not just teaching them some scientific skill of observation. This is about rooted togetherness. Years from now, they won't care about the video games. They won't care about the YouTube shorts. They'll remember the textures, the smells, the visions, the laughs, the geeky excitement of their friends, and a family that learned to see together. But reclaiming your kids' attention from screens is only one piece of a much larger puzzle. The culture is aggressively attacking our children's faith and work ethic through a slow erosion of our family habits. And the scariest part, most parents have no idea until the disaster hits. That's why my husband and I created the Culture Proof Audit. It is our strategy to help young families fight the fight for their kids by detecting early where they're vulnerable and taking steps to make changes before it's too late. So you can get that in the description below. If you want to hear more stories and the physical tools that we use to get our kids outside and enjoying nature, I think you'll really enjoy this video. I had a blast making it. Press on, connect with your kids, and may God bless your family.